When you think of absolutely crazy autoloaders, I can almost guarantee most people probably don't think about the T69, and this is of course the tier 8 American medium tank that has a very powerful autoloader that we're going to have a look at today in today's video. So hopefully it will be an interesting one. Let me know what you think of this tank as we go through, and we're going to have a look at how you can set it up, the advantages of this thing, how you can take it out, and of course more importantly, is it actually worth going towards? Now, this leads up to the T57 Heavy in the tech tree, so if we go ahead and have a look at that, you can see exactly where we are looking at. It's in the Americans, and of course, yeah, it's down here. Where is it? There it is. So the T69 coming from the T71 DA, it then leads up to the 57 Heavy and the T54A1, and you'll find that this tank is kind of a hybrid between the traditional heavy that is the T57 Heavy and of course more of a light tank build and a medium that you would kind of play, at least when it comes to the American line. So well, let's have a look at what the armor model is like, because that's one of the most important things, I guess, is can you bounce any rounds? And the short answer is not really. Turret armor can bounce a few rounds. It's somewhat similar to what you'd see in the 57 Heavy, but it is nowhere near as good. And the 57 Heavy isn't even that good. So yeah, you've got a long way to go if you think that you're going to be able to bounce quite a few rounds off of this turret. It can bounce a few when it hits this kind of mantlet section, but even then often they'll just pen you anyway. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where you just fingers crossed you'll bounce around. If you don't, you better make sure that the rounds are going to hit and they're going to deal more damage to your opponent than you're going to. And because of the tank being an autoloader, the trading in this vehicle is one of the best bits about it, and you're going to be able to really kick out a huge amount of damage in short periods of time, and also be able to pick on tanks higher tier than you, which is always nice in World of Tanks. So let's have a look at the statistics, because yeah, let's see what this tank is all good for. And you can see here, instantly we start off with a top forward speed of 51.5 kilometers an hour, so it's really quick at being able to get up to top speed. You have 9 degrees of gun depression, so you can use ridge lines. You have 0.3 accuracy, so you're very accurate. You also have pretty good aim time, 2.08 seconds, with the equipment and stuff we've got set up, which I'll have a look at in a sec. An intraclip reload of 2 seconds, which means you can do 960 damage within just 6 seconds of firing the first shell with its 4-shot autoloader, which is really good, really up there with the highest amounts of damage tier 8s can do. And then you've got 2,237 damage per minute, which for an autoloader, especially a medium autoloader, is very good. I mean, it's up there with some of the better ones. Is it incredible? Absolutely not, but it's definitely able to really deal a ton of damage because of that short intraclip reload, but also the alpha damage that you can do in total. Hit points kind of lackluster, 1350, nothing special there, but you do get an incredible amount of view range, 523.85 meters in the setup that we've got. That is with advanced optics, however, but still really nice, and you can basically spot anyone towards the later end of the game if they spot you, unless you're coming up against some of the very good light tanks at being able to spot. So how did we achieve those statistics? Well, let's have a look at the loadout. We have gone with a vertical stabilizer because we want to make sure that we are as accurate as possible without costing us anything else or sacrificing anything. So gun stabilizer, really good for being able to remain accurate whilst also dealing damage, because you don't want to miss out on damage because you bounce one or it goes somewhere absolute random. So accuracy is really important in an autoloader, and you can pinpoint tracks and stuff like that to lock people down. We went with improved ventilation for the increase in crew performance. That gives us better reload, which is actually one of the only ways you can get a better reload in an autoloader. So we went with it, and because we were limited on being able to essentially have anything to boost up reload, then we basically forced into using it. And of course it gives us other advantages like view range bonuses and track repair speed bonuses and all sorts. Very small minor amounts, but it's still better than nothing. And then we've got advanced optics, as I say, for that boosted view range and to spot people and get some assistance maybe when we're playing this. Potential other things I would use if I went for a camo build and we dropped out something like the gun stabilizer. Don't know why you do it, but you go with advanced concealment for a full kind of spotting build where you can remain undetected. Or if you want to be a bit more aggressive and move around the map a lot more, then traction system or going with advanced powertrain for increased horsepower and speed might be the way to go. And of course that's a potential option to use. And I'd recommend out of all three, probably dropping vents, as it's like the least beneficial in terms of one statistical bonus, but it's still very, very good in general. So that's kind of how we set up the tank. We went with full premium consumables because I mean I don't really have any problems with silver, and we've basically got every tank in the game at this point. And then we went with unfortunately full premium, and that is not because I wanted to do it. It's mainly because it's almost required if you're trying to play this at the top ability, because of the fact that the premium penetration is insanely good, but the standard penetration is insanely bad. 210 millimeters of standard pen in this thing is horrendous because of the fact that yes, at tier 8, when you're playing in tier 8 games, you can pen mostly everything. As soon as you go to tier 10 and you're coming up against E100s, Mauses, basically even tier 9 where you're coming up against Malshans and you're coming up against things like the T10s and stuff like that, 210 pen can bounce quite easily off of tanks. And it's also not that fast, so it's not an APCR rounds, which is just a negative. And yeah, just in general, it sucks having these AP rounds with only 210 pen. And so yeah, just it's one of those where unfortunately sometimes you just have to load the heat. And we all know how good heat rounds are in World of Tanks. But that is kind of how I've set up the tank. Of course, let me know what you think about this one before we get into the games. And if you have any predictions as to how well these games go, let me know in the comment section. So let's jump in there and see how it goes. Now then, kicking off the first game, we do have a game on one of my least favourite maps, Mines, because I have no idea how this map even plays up to tier 8 because it is just tiny, and it may even be at tier 10, I have no idea. Hopefully not. This map is horrendous, and it's because of this reason where at the start of the game you can see literally everyone on the enemy team, which is always a good way to lose, you know, a quarter of your health or somewhere there or thereabouts. Now for some reason Wargaming thought this was a good idea. We're going to take advantage of it, however, in this game, and oh, for God's sake, we got hit by a Dragon as well. But don't worry, we'll try and make it up against this King Dragon, who's over angling in his tank. But don't worry, those 280 pen means that we can go straight through him like butter, because 280 pen. Either way, at the beginning, we have basically drawn equal in terms of the amount of damage that we've dealt versus how much we've received, which is not a great start, since usually you want to maintain your health in autoloaders at the beginning of the game. But, you know, we had to get into this position, and it's going to benefit us towards the later stages of this game. So that's not bad. Let's hopefully be able to improve upon it as we go through. Now the Oni on the enemy team is of course pushing towards the left. Now I have no idea why he'd push towards the left in his Oni. I guess only he knows, but apparently that's what he wants to do, and hopefully we can get some damage on him. Now we managed to hit him here, which is good. Can we get another one? No, we can't. We bounce, hitting the space of the turret. I decide, don't want to take a hit from the King Dragon with his 390 damage. I'm going to pull back around this corner, and we'll just wait here until we can find something else to hit, or maybe the Oni will graciously reward us with a few more hit points if he pokes the corner area where we're looking right now. He then tries to come around that corner and ends up firing preemptively into a rock, which is brilliant. So we don't have to take any more hits so far. I've done 1,150 damage. Don't worry, it gets a lot better as we go through this game. But the good thing about this tank is even if you've done a minimal amount of damage, during your games, you can quickly make up for it as you go through. Now, the enemy IS-3 auto has just seen that the slapjack's fired, and so that means we can go for him. And essentially what I was aiming for here was going for that upper plate. We managed to hit the turret of him and managed to pen, because 280 pen. You see where I'm going with the penetration and why I ended up using it in the end rather than just bouncing off of everything. And you could see there, if we loaded standard, we literally would have just bounced, which is, thank you Wargaming for making it highly competitive tank. Anyway, moving forward in this game, where do we go? Well, I'm thinking maybe we can move into the middle of the map to get a bit more view range onto the opponents, spot them, maybe get a bit of a crossfire, because the game is looking pretty bad at the moment, or at least it was until the Oni got taken out. So the enemy team are up by 1 vehicle. It's nothing major. I think we could probably pull it back quite easily, but I'm worried about the TDs, and I was worried about getting spotted as we make our way into the top of the middle of the map, I guess, or the kind of hill area in the middle of the map. Anyway, with that being said, we've pushed up into the middle, and I was expecting one of the enemy team to be up here, since this is the most crucial bit of this map, and you'll see why in just a second. But apparently no one on the enemy team wanted to be here. So what we do here is we circle back, because yes, I know I can deal damage to the people on the hill over in A4 and 5 who are the TDs camping, but I wanted to see if we could get any side shots to help out the team on the other side, because although it might be fun to get a few shots of damage into people who are camping in the TDs, it's not going to help our team whatsoever. Now luckily the enemy T92 gets taken out and our team are able to push up again. But what can we do from here? Well, this is where the game starts to get interesting, because the enemy team are camping. They've got good kind of hit points. They're probably all full health. They're all TDs camping, and oh look, we found our friend, the Lorraine 15551, and instead of shooting, I did not shoot, we let him burn, and yeah, we find ourselves with a nice one there. And then we use that extra shot to deal damage to the ISU, picking up just over 1,000 damage with that one kind of salvo, which was a nice one, a fully penning round, or bunch of rounds there, which is good. So we've now done 2.7k, and we're basically reloaded in just under 20 seconds. 19.8 if we want to be precise or whatever, but we managed to find ourselves an SU-130 PM who is sat out in the area at the back of the map, and we managed to plop 3 rounds into him, totaling just under 800 damage, which is good. But now we have an ISU, and we've got another SU, and we've got the SU-130 PM, we've got an AMX M4, and all of these boys have been camping in their base the entire game. Oh look, an ISU. Oh no, an SU pops down thinking he's funny, and he's not very funny for us. Now, I was thinking about unloading my full clip onto him, which we could have done, but at the end of the day, I could have taken quite a few hits in return. It gave the enemy team long enough to actually turn to look at me, so I wasn't wanting to give that up. So instead, I kind of get into this location, see if I can spot anyone, and with only 2 shells in the mag, probably should have gone for the reload instantly when we knew we weren't getting any shots on the SU, but I was never sure, and so we didn't end up doing that in the end. But what we do is spot ourselves an SU-152, and hopefully someone on the team can finish him off, which they do. And look, another ISU. There's a lot of ISUs and SUs and blah 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 camping at the back. It seems like it's a Soviet trait. Now the SU then gets spotted again, and we plump 1 into him, and it's just a AMX. Now I'm thinking at this point I want to get a bit more damage. We've got 3 shots in the magazine, so what can we do? Well, we can back up into this location where we increase the angle on him and wait for him to turn around. He does turn, and extra damage for me. I think I'll have some, and then we leave him on just 2 health, which kind of sucks, but we don't manage to get that kill. But we do pick up 4.9 thousand damage in this game, picking up a victory and 1796 base experience, which is of course the realms of a mastery badge, or so I thought, until we realised it wasn't a mastery badge. But we still picked up 5.6 thousand combined damage, actually 5.7 if we want to be precise, blah blah blah. But 2 enemies taken out, decent amount of XP, a first class badge, a high caliber, and a pretty good result considering the beginning of the game and losing quite a bit of health. Now then, the next bit that we do have for today is of course on Serene Coast. And this is a interesting map for this tank because there is a lot of potential for us to deal a good amount of damage, but unfortunately we are in a tier 10 game, which is quite unfortunate because yeah, this tank, when it doesn't have very many hit points and you're up against tier 10s, can be a little bit tedious. Now we start off with excellent form and marksmanship by missing all of our shells on the LTTB. Yeah, I don't quite know what the LTTB was doing, but apparently he didn't either, as he throws himself off the cliff at the beginning of the game, getting absolutely 0 spotting damage, I expect, and having an absolute ball of a game. So yeah, I bet he had so much fun in that game. Don't know why light tanks do that. It's never worth actually spotting at the beginning of the game by throwing yourselves away and never having any potential damage later on in the game. Anyway, within this game what we're doing is trying to maintain our health, unlike the previous game, and so we're going to push towards the hill, but I'm a bit unsure as to what's going to go there. There could be some horrible tanks to come up against. Things like a T30 can be a pain to pen reliably, and they can just poke you for, you know, 3/4 of your health or 2/3 or whatever. And that's never fun whatsoever. So what we're going to do is poke up into this little bush, see if we can find anyone that's kind of sat out in the open, get a clip off for free, but seems like the enemy team aren't being complete bots in this game. And there's going to have to be a little bit of a carry during this game because a lot of the enemy team have gone over on the east of the map, and our team actually handled it quite well considering how many tanks were over there, and with only 4 tanks actually defending. Now we find a little M60 who's pushing up towards us, and get a free shot into him. Can we get another one? Apparently I could hit that guy, but apparently not. And then he pushes again. Can we get one into the turret? Yes we can. Easy as you like. We broke his gun, and now he's on a very significantly reduced amount of hit points that maybe will take a little bit more when I'm fully reloaded. And you can see how quickly you can feel like you reload. That's the one thing I loved about this tank, is that you don't feel like you're kind of restricted by having a long reload. 20 seconds, it might seem like a lot, but at the same time, when you're dealing 960 damage in a tier 8, you feel very powerful, and by the time you kind of relocate, make sure you stay safe during that time, you can quickly reload and you're able to reposition to find a better spot the next time that you're reloaded. So with that being said, we need to get rid of this M60 out of this game, so over peaking here we do manage to hit him in the cupola and finish him off, taking him out of the game, and of course securing a little bit more confidence over this flank as to us actually winning. But there is a little bit of a weak IS-7 who's obviously not fully committing to this flank, and in fact just sitting back and hoping that someone's going to help him out, which let's just say won't really help him out. And now he's getting absolutely clipped by one of our teammates here. Now then, IS-7, unfortunately with 280 pen and only being able to see the upper plate, we can't pen him. Yeah, not ideal, but there is an AVRE, one of our best friends in the game. I'm sure they are one of your best friends as well, and so instead of shooting either of those, we're going to go for the easy target in the T28, who we graciously steal, you know, probably half of his hit points away from him, which I'm feel a little bit bad about, but you know, T28 is an absolute clubber when you can get that main gun working, and if you can wiggle, you can actually bounce quite a few, but 280 heat pen is probably just a little bit too much. Anyway, Draugen, we managed to finish him off. I get spotted. I'm not going to sit there because there could be some big boys at the back, so I'm going to reload. And this is what I say about, you know, sometimes you can get one shot off, but if you be greedy in this game, sometimes it can end up really shafting you. May see that in this game. We may see that. Anyway, having done 1600 damage, it's an okay game, but there's still this horrible AVRE who I hate to see. Who we are hoping to get some shots into the cupola, but he's now fully aimed at us, so yeah, we're not going to poke that anymore. So instead I decide maybe we can get a few more of these shots. We've got 2 left. I was hoping we could spot the T28, but he doesn't appear to be wanting to be found. Now, what do we do from here? Well, I think it's time for us to kind of hold off for a second, and I'll join you back when we've reloaded. Now then, in the lull of kind of reloading, the AVRE decides he's going to push, and a nice little shot into the cupola of the tank, a nice one into the side of him, and we're not going to push him to get taken another hit. Now I'm trying to get another one into this guy because we want to make sure that we can get as much damage off of him. I try and go for the final one, and of course it bounces. But we do get 3 successful pens into him, but we do have ourselves a little T28, and so I decide, probably aim over this side, and the AVRE surely can't hit me. Of course he does, over ridgeline. Maybe the shot was a lot bigger than I thought, but I thought, no, there's no way he can get me from there without over peaking. Turns out he can. So rather than sit there and get YOLO'd by an AVRE, I decide let's reposition into a better position to defend from, and maybe we can get some more damage as the AVRE actually pokes our Tiger 2, I believe it was actually. And the game looks very, very stalematey at the moment. There's not a lot of action going on, and with you know, 5 of us on each team, it could really go either way. It just depends on who outplays the other. And with a Jaegeru, there's an FV4202, there's the AVRE, we've got, I believe, a T95 or a T110E3 on the enemy team as well, who is spotted over in C7. And there you go, a Panther 2 as well, spotted in the middle of the map. And yeah, now at this point, it's kind of what can I do to maximize my potential to help out the team as much as possible, and that is essentially by holding up this AVRE from just steamrolling and coming on through to ruin everyone's day. Now I go for a lucky shot here. We probably get another one into him before he can aim, and I try and go for another one. Should have gone for the actual tracks, and then we bait him into actually firing. And then I make the misplay of actually reloading. I should have actually just waited and tried to get one into the turret. But I was hoping maybe we could essentially bait this guy into thinking that we're fully reloaded when we definitely aren't. But he appears like he knows what we're doing, and he's fully overcommitting around that corner. So yeah, I'm not going to sit there and take one when we're reloaded. So instead, I try and bait him here like we saw him in the last one. But he's having none of it, as he may or may not be a good player. I have no idea. But yeah, we were hoping we could bait him. We can't, and so I'm just basically trying to keep him spotted, because you never know with AVRE players. A lot of the time they kind of monkey see, monkey do, YOLO into you, and that is never a good sign whatsoever. And especially when I'm in such a paper tank that he can basically just, you know, fart on me and I'm gonna be gone. Yeah, I don't think I really want to take my chances with this guy. So on 11 health, good thing about being an autoloader is that we have the potential to deal a lot of damage even if we are on no damage, so, you know, or no health. And that's because, you know, they might be able to miss a shell, and that gives us the opportunity to get in full 4 shots of damage when, you know, they might only get in 1 at the end to finish us off for 11 damage, for example. So if we can bait a person, we can deal a full clip of damage and, yeah, really screw them over. Now, I'm minor peeking this guy. We only want to kind of touch around to spot him. And essentially, at this point, I decide, yeah, I'm sick of poking this guy. He's probably going to get me if I try and actually deal damage from this side. So we're going to leave. And by leaving, I mean we're going to move down into the middle. We can do it without getting spotted, hopefully. But the Jaegeru apparently spots us, or the FV spots us. And so I get into this location. I'm trying to bait where the enemy team are going to be. And I think, yeah, this isn't great. A Jaegeru appears like he's going to be coming. A nasty Jaegeru. He's going to come around the corner. Let's pre-aim him real quick. He's going to come around the corner. Oh, he didn't come around the corner. He's gone up the hill. I don't know. Either way, we can hopefully get one in. We actually bounce off the back of him, which is, yeah, thanks game. And instead we actually push around. The AVREs can't hit me from here. The only tank I'm a bit worried about is where this other TD is. We managed to come up from behind him. The Jaeger is thinking, oh, for God's sake, why didn't I realise about this guy? And he gets taken out. So yes, a nice little 3,200 damage so far with just the aviary and this tank destroyer, the E3, left alive. Now I'm worried about someone potentially being over there, but I don't know. Someone pings over on the other side, which alerts me to knowing that he's actually in C7 right there. Pings, and everyone's saying yes, I know, blah blah blah. And it's just the aviary that's going to be a problem in this game. So what do? Well, we try and spot this guy. Maybe our teammate can get a shot into him. I'm not going to sit there and take a hit for no reason, making it a little bit more of a pressure situation for the team. But I can just basically keep him spotted without him being able to do anything to us. So that is what I'm going to primarily do in this game. I could potentially try and get the damage on him, but at this point I'm just wanting to win the game. I don't want to lose to a stupid aviary who's obviously playing in one of the most balanced and fun tanks imaginable that I'm pretty sure everyone loves to see in the games. So yeah, given the fact that we got penned by him, I definitely don't want to die to him. So yeah, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. But having done 3,200 damage in a tier 10 game, especially when we came up against a lot of tier 10s, it's not bad at all. And I think most people would be pleasantly, you know, it would be a good game. Is it outrageous? Is it crazy? Absolutely not. But I think most people have games like this and would be quite happy with how it's gone. So what are we going to do from this situation right now? Well, we are going to have to essentially wait until our teammate here in the Murat actually spots him, because we have no idea where this aviary is going to be. It could be absolutely anywhere, so let's, fingers crossed, I hope he's not coming into the middle of us. So at this point, I'm going to go towards the last known position of our favourite friend, the T110E3, who is last left alive over in C0. I'll ping to him to come over with me. Hopefully he's going to move over, and I'm sure he will, given that he had 2 marks, I believe. And yeah, with an FE4202P, one of the worst premium tanks I expect at tier 8, we should be able to finish this guy. And I don't know how much hit points he's on. It's kind of one of those things where we just got to hope that he's not actually on a decent amount, and so we push over to try and find exactly how much damage he is actually on. And it appears as though he was only on a 1-shot, and the E3 goes back to the garage quickly, and we end up winning the game, which is a nice one, a victory. And of course the T69 showcased in 2 decent games, I believe, and hopefully it's given you an indication as to how powerful this little tier 8 medium actually is, and how much damage it can deal, even if you do lose 100,000 silver when you play this tank and have a brilliant result. Yeah, expensive, very fun though, but if you play it without the premium, it's probably a lot less fun. Other than that, hopefully that's given you an indication, and if you want to see more videos from myself, then check out these ones that I've handpicked for you, and of course I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.